Guess who that voice is?
Uh,
Well, that voice is from, first of all, I have to say, a woman that I love very much. She is one of the sweetest people that I have ever met and one of the funniest. You will know her from her iconic role as Big Rosie Greenbaum on Laverne and Shirley, Miss Carole Ita White.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Oh,
Hey,
hello.
David.
Hey, Carole.
Hope you're well.
I'm well. I'm well. I'm keeping. I'm keeping.
Keeping
In the
your
house.
keeping what?
In the house.
Oh, yeah, me too. But you are encouraging your young actors, though you may be locked in the house for now.
Yes.
L'chaim.
I am.
And what does that mean? To life.
Life.
So,
Yes.
happy. Good, so good to see your face.
Oh, it's good to see yours. I'm so glad. This is our first real Zoom together since we've been in quarantine.
Since we've been engaged.
I forgot about
Still single.
that. I left.
In case any of your students might still single.
No, I can't wait till you come back to Performing Arts Studio West when the quarantine is over.
Oh, I just can't wait to meet your students. I've seen them on YouTube.
Yes.
They're so talented, so full of life, so castable, so delightful.
I tell you, it's so true. I mean, and Emmy winners and series that run for 5 years, and
right?
The list goes on. You know,
Yeah.
and singers and dancers, and we love you, PASW. Mwah.
Right.
So, Miss White.
Yes, sir.
What was your first movie?
Oh,
The first movie that you were ever in?
For my very first movie, believe it or not, was with Barbara Streisand. It was called Up the Sandbox. And I played, this was 1974. Before most of your students were born, I would suspect. Anyway, I was a young actor, like the gang in your group, and I get a call from my agent. Go over to Fox, meet Sis Corman, and audition for, she was a casting director, unless it was Marion Doherty. I don't remember. But either way, they're both huge casting directors, huge, like the biggest in the business. So I go over and I learn my lines. I play Bernice Spittelmeister, the babysitter. Barbara and her husband were going to a party, and I have my school books with me. I knock on the door. Oh, I got the part, by the way. The casting person said, I'm going to have you back to meet the director. She showed me a picture of the girl who they liked, who lived in New York. But here they were going to shoot it in LA, and I live in LA. So next time I came in looking like myself, but you know. So I'm Miss Spittelmeister coming to babysit with my books and my chemistry in hand, and I knock on the door, on Barbara Streisand's door, her character.
Yeah.
I was so nervous. I was nervous. Barbara Streisand opens the door, and she says, come in, Miss Spittelmeister, here, come, just I was so nervous. She says, "Come in, Miss Spittelmeister." I closed the door behind me, slam. All the pictures on the wall fell off. Cut!
Oh,
So I thought, call Central Casting and get another Miss Spittelmeister here who knows what she's doing.
well, that was
Uh,
the wall support, not you.
well, the prop guy said, "Oh, it happens all the time," but it was like I slammed the door. All the pictures came off the walls.
They should have kept that in the movie.
Yeah, well. But that was like the greatest thrill to work with her. I had seen her in Funny Girl in New York, of course, and I was the biggest fan. And I had to do a nude scene in this movie.
Yes.
Oh, yes. And it was like, I'm thinking to myself, nude scene, nude scene. Well, it's a Barbara Streisand movie. And so it's not going to be, scary. But you did see my right breast in the movie when she comes home from the party with her husband. She opens her bedroom door. There I am sitting on having sex with my chemistry partner. And
Right.
I think, yeah, so
And that was your first your first movie.
that
You're
was my
doing a
first
nude
movie.
scene in a Streisand film.
Couldn't hurt.
I know it can. Two things about that. Number one,
Yeah.
was the first time that you met her when you opened that door in the scene, or before?
Actually, no. I met her during lunch. She had a big trailer on the set, like, a mobile home on the stage. And she called for me to come in her dressing room while she was eating her lunch.
Yeah.
She says something like, "Does your mother know you're going to take your clothes off?" And I can't do an imitation of her, but I said, yes, and she's terribly excited, hoping that perhaps I'd find a husband, but still no. And that was only how many years ago? 50 years ago or something?
72, was it? I don't know.
70, it was 74.
Oh,
And
74.
yeah, 74. So that was a few days ago anyway.
Oh, yeah.
But that is, so she couldn't have been sweeter.
Oh.
And every time I'd see her after I finished that project, I'd see her driving around town and her license plate would be BJS. And so I'd know it was her. I think Joan is her middle name or something like Barbara Jones.
Yeah.
She'd drive around with her name on her license plate. And I'd honk, she'd wave, Miss Spittelmeister, hello.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yes, she couldn't have been kinder.
Well, I have to say that's one of my favorite movies of all time. In my top 10. So, and it's so, I love it. I love coming to, when I got to Hollywood, I was sort of like for the first year, and then I finally eased into it, and then, I met you, and then after a while, I found out you were in that movie, and I went, oh my God! So I was like, it was great.
It was very exciting. Very exciting.
Great. Now, you, of course, I'm gonna throw out a name.
Okay.
Actually, I have a couple names to throw out, but I'm gonna throw out the name Gary Marshall.
And what would you like me to do with that name?
When did you first meet Mr. Gary Marshall, and how did you become a working relationship with him? Because you did many things with him.
Many. God rest his soul. Let me say that first.
Oh, he was amazing.
So, Gary Marshall's writing partner, was a man named Jerry Belson. He was his partner in The Odd Couple. He was his partner in many movies they did together. But this was a movie for television. And Jerry Belson, Gary's partner, his sister, was my best friend. Monica Johnson was her name. And Penny Marshall and Carole White. It was all our first projects on TV. Can you imagine that? This was before the Barbara Streisand movie.
Right.
And it was a TV movie called Evil Roy Slade. Wait till you hear who's starring in it. John Aston, Dick Shawn, Milton Berle,
Oh my God.
Mickey Rooney. It was a Western. And I played, my character's name is Homely Girl in Bank. So Penny was in it. It was her first job. Monica, Jerry's sister, it was her first job. John Aston, he's a bad guy, comes into the bank with a mask on like we all wear now.
Yeah.
And he goes around and he kisses all the girls and he gets to me, changes his mind, doesn't give me a kiss. What did I care? I got my union card. I got in with Gary Marshall and Jerry Belson. Gary Marshall then used me twice on the Odd Couple show, and of course on da 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 Laverne and Shirley. Can you see it or is it backwards?
No, it's gorgeous.
And here's me right here.
That's you.
And here's another me. But interesting thing, Laverne and Shirley comes on mid-season. It's when they brought new shows on in mid-season.
Right.
And I wasn't Big Rosie Greenbaum then. I was Raunchy Girl in Bank.
Wait a minute. Raunchy Girl in Bank. You played in Bank several times then.
This is my thing. Homely Girl in Bank, Raunchy Girl in Bank. And I get in this episode,
I have to pause for a second because you are anything but homely. So I don't get that. But anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, compared to, typical in those days, there were no fat actresses. Really. There were the glamorous actresses, and in everything I worked in, the stars were always those glamorous actresses. So and listen, as long as they paid me, as long as I could do my thing and get a few laughs, see myself on the screen and join the union and get paid and get residuals, I didn't care what they called me, But the first Laverne and Shirley show I did, I wasn't Big Rosie. I was Raunchy Girl in Bank. She and Shirley go on a date to a pool hall. And this was with Ivan was my boyfriend, big nasty Ivan. And I don't know, Laverne, I say, I was like really tough. And me and Penny get into a fight, I'm gonna rip that L right off of your chest kind of a thing. And they make their escape, they run around. I open the door, there they are again. Anyway, Gary Marshall, who I will always be grateful to, he liked that Laverne had someone to fight with that wasn't Shirley. Laverne and Shirley could pal up against the enemy. They brought me back next season as Big Rosie Greenbaum, bimbo with the bucks. My character marries a rich proctologist. He follows his dream anyway. And I'm always flashing my credit cards and my furs, and I'm just a big bimbo like I'm as big a bimbo as they are, but I call them, the mayor wouldn't dine with bimbos like you. Anyway, so me and Laverne were meeting up and fighting. But I'll tell you, from when I did the Raunchy Girl, and got in the first fight with Laverne, when they said I was going to come back as a character, I lost 25 pounds. And I'm thin, and I'm I don't know if you could see me here,
Yeah.
117 pounds. I get there, and the customer said, well, he liked you big, and he'd like you to wear padding, like a fat suit.
Oh.
I started to cry. This is my huge break, and I have to wear a fat suit. Anyway, I didn't have to wear a fat suit. I said, she's got a big attitude.
Yeah.
She doesn't need, extra poundage, as it were. So that was so much fun.
Oh my God. And what a family that I mean, throughout the years, you kept friends with all these wonderful people.
Yeah, yeah. They were, it was a great crowd. Whenever I see David Lander, or Michael, or Cindy Williams, so sweet. God rest Phil Foster. And I believe Betty Garrett is gone too, if I'm not mistaken. If you're alive, Betty, yes. And if you're gone, God rest your soul. Anyway.
This is what I love about you is your sense of humor about life and love. And also I love that coffee mug.
Oh, thank you. I've taken up painting, of all things.
Yes.
Yeah, taken up painting, and it's kept me calm during this pandemic.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I'm also out with my sign protesting
Very
Black
nice. With
Black
with
Lives
your
Matter.
mask on, right? I've got my mask right here, so when I go out.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And
Oh,
you could. That's what I always say to people: cover your nose too, you silly people. Cover your nose.
cover your nose. Um, I mean, you went on to do classic TV, Love American Style, Mary.
Oh, that was before Laverne and Shirley.
Oh, that of course. I mean, I grew up loving that as well. And then you did Mary Hartman, and then of course Starsky and Hutch. I love that episode. Wasn't it two
Oh,
episodes?
you know what? That was I actually was in the pilot of Starsky and Hutch, and then they had me back a few years later after they were a big smash hit already.
Right.
And it was Murder at Sea. Oh, speaking of which, it was called Murder at Sea. Here I am, skinny, and that's Richard Hack. He wrote for the Hollywood Reporter, and he's carrying his mother's urn. She always wanted to go on a cruise. But anyway, it was Jose Ferrer was in it, and of course, Starsky and Hutch. Let me think. Ed Begley Jr. was in it, and just all kind of people. I did a tap dance. Oh, I played Bertha Zelinka, Tops and Taps. In the talent show, I did a tap dance.
Yeah, yeah.
But playing my mother was Kay Medford, who played on Broadway with Barbara Streisand in Funny
Funny
Girl,
girl.
played her mother. And I actually did a Love American Style with her. And oh, God rest her soul, she was great. So she and I were taking a cruise to find me a man. Not that I'm obsessed with that, but she and I played mother and daughter, and it was a pleasure. And then all the people that were on the cruise that were they flew us to Hawaii.
Ooh, nice.
And then we took a cruise back to San Francisco and filmed it on the cruise. And it wasn't the exact pilot for the Love Boat, but it was the pilot before the pilot for the show The Love Boat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Another Aaron Spelling show, as was Starsky and Hutch. Anyway, the people on the cruise, they were so kind to me. They said, "What can we do to help your career?" I said, "Write a little note to Freddie Silverman, the president of ABC, and say, 'Give Carole White a show.'" And you know what? They wrote and they wrote and they wrote. And then Gary Marshall had me do Raunchy Girl. And then right after the very first show I did as Rosie,
Yeah.
he ordered me my own show. And as show business goes and things get twisted and kind of nasty, that show became Angie with Donna Pesco. Donna
Oh,
Pesco, whom I love. She
yes.
was fabulous as Angie, but Angie was actually Rosie. And, and
Wow. So it
so
started as that. Oh,
that's right.
I never knew that story. I mean, we've
Yeah.
had Donna's come to teach too.
She's she's an extraordinary girl and so gifted. I call her a girl because she's at least 2 years younger than me. But
It's
she's just wonderful.
oh, she's amazing, and it's interesting how you are describing all these people that you kept on running into. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a small town. It's a
It
small
is a
business.
small town and a small business. And in fact, Gary Marshall and Jerry Belson, who gave me my first job on TV in Evil Roy Slade,
Mhm.
they, Jerry wrote the pilot for Angie. It was called For Rosie. But, this is a story I'm going to tell you at another time.
Oh,
Maybe when I come and see your class, which I can't wait. I can't wait.
oh, I love it. I love that. Well,
Yes,
that's
yes.
something to look forward to.
Ooh,
Um,
yes. Besides the striptease, of course.
um, a famous cult film you did,
Yes.
Savage Streets.
Uh-oh. Yes, 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 yes,
Tell us
yes.
about that with Linda Blair.
I, with Linda Blair, of course, she and I did many, many prison women behind bars movies. We did Concrete Jungle, Savage Streets. Wait, there's more. Cage, something about a cage anyway. Uh, you know, and I would take my father with me to the screenings of these movies. Now, I never took my clothes off in any of these movies, just so you know. I will only take my clothes off for Barbara Streisand movies. But anyway, lots of the girls would, ingenues behind bars. But I would be like the tough inmate. I was sitting on the john, smoking a joint, looking at a lingerie thing, and she stood on the toilet next to me and lowered a hook and got me and killed me in this one prison movie. Now
Oh,
this wasn't Savage Streets. In Savage Streets, I played the gym teacher, breaking up fights, girls in the locker room. Listen, I would take my dad, and this is important for your kids I call them kids, your actors, to know, is that I'd take my father to these screenings with me. Now, my father was an actor, a well-known character actor. We can talk about him in a second. But
yes.
when I go to these movies and I'd see myself and I would go, "Oh my goodness," he says, "Carole, actors have to work. They have to pay their rent. They have to pay their bills. You're acting, you're acting, you're acting. Everybody has those bombs in their closet, those strange things they did."
Well,
And that's it.
and some of those quote strange things are classic and wonderful. I mean,
Classic movies.
I love cult movies, classic midnight films. And you mentioned somebody who I actually have the question. It was another like, okay, I'm going to throw this name out, but you brought him up, Mr. Jesse White.
Yeah, this is from his heyday in Hollywood, let's say, maybe like this.
Oh,
He was, he started on Broadway. He worked in a play called Harvey about the invisible rabbit.
yeah.
And when they decided to make it into a movie, they brought him out from Broadway. He made the movie. They put him under contract at Universal, and the rest. And here I am. Let's see if I can find some great pictures.
Well, that's a question too. You said, "Here
Yeah,
I am." With your father being in the business, do you think it was a little easier for you or a little harder? Or, I hear two different stories from different
I'll
people.
tell you, here's where it's easy. Here's where it was easier. Because he was a professional, I got to sort of see what's real and what's BS, because hundreds of people are getting off the bus every day. I want to be an actor. I want to be an actor. And they get hooked into classes. They get hooked into come up to my hotel room. They get hooked into things that are not so kosher, let's say, not so real.
Mhm.
So I could, because of him, I'd know Love American Style is not, uh, some shady thing where you don't get paid. Also, a lot of times they want you to pay them
Oh,
to
no.
be, oh, I'll be your agent. Pay me this now. I want to show you. My dad was in a movie called Bedtime for Bonzo.
Oh my God, yes.
And here's Bonzo. I don't know. Bonzo, the monkey, Milton Berle, very young, and my dad. That was one of his very, very early jobs. And then he worked with Ann Southern on a TV show called Private Secretary. Actually, I'll tell you, he started in New York in TV, the very first TV shows that were made in kinescope. Um, and when he came out to Hollywood, then he was on not one series with Ann Southern, two. He was on Make Room for Daddy, playing Danny Thomas's original agent. And then after he worked with Marlo Thomas, he was on the Munsters. There wasn't a Columbo. There wasn't a show
Did
and
you get,
movies.
did you get to work with him?
I did. We did I don't know what to call it, for National Auto Parts. We were flown to Las Vegas and we did a musical about auto parts. And he was in it and I was in it. And
Oh, I love that.
here's a great picture of him
Oh,
laughing. Yeah, he was great. But then after he did all these series, Stan Freberg, the brilliant Stan Freberg, who worked for an ad agency, he created the first funny commercials. And my dad worked for him doing Chungking chow mein commercials. And from there, he got a call.
yeah.
He was the original Maytag repairman on TV. I don't know if you could see him, but old lonely, because the Maytags never broke down, of course.
Oh my God. What is that book, by the way? It's a gorgeous book.
One of my beautiful fans, Angela Farina, and her sister Deborah, the many faces of Jesse White, they sent it to me. And when they came to town from New York, they gave it to me along with a beautiful, beautiful one of my mother.
Oh,
I'm so touched. Now my mom and dad, met in a workshop in New York. But my dad said, only one star in the family, Simmy. And so
So
she
she
said,
she was a performer, but
yes, she was a dancer and an actress. And, in those days, the man worked and the woman stayed home and raised the children. And we were fortunate enough that she didn't have to work,
yeah,
but she
great.
would come in and do a high kick. And
I just pictured him when she was pissed, she would kick him.
well, uh, that's another story. But
But hey, I've got to throw something at one thing. You said only one star in the family, but ultimately there were more because you popped out and
yes, and I'll tell you, my very first play I did was in Sunday school.
yeah.
And I went to Sunday school with Richard Dreyfuss. You've heard of him, Richard Dreyfuss? I went to high school with him and Sunday school. And my first play, I played Luella the Latka. It was a it was a Hanukkah play.
I love it.
He was Thomas the Shamus, and I
Thomas
was
the
Luella
Shamus?
the Latka. Thomas the Shamus, and we have been friends a long, long time.
Uh,
Yeah.
so
Yes.
tell me,
Yes, sir.
what is your joy?
My joy. Oh, my joy is my sister's children and our first grandson.
Oh,
My sister's first grandson, Artie. Artie is his name. And he's a little bundle of baby joy, just learning to walk. They took him to the park. They live in Chicago, and he's walking in the grass. He just learned to walk in his bare feet.
yeah.
And there's such wonderment in children. So that is my joy. Plus, as I say, I've started to paint, and
Yeah.
it's calmed me through this period of pandemic,
Well,
etc.
I tell you, you said the kids at the school, and I feel, I mean, a lot of people call me uncle, so I get to be an uncle. So I
Yeah,
love it.
it's a joy.
It
It
is
is.
joy.
And you are so lucky to work with young artists.
Well, amazing. I mean, that seriously, that is my joy. That is my joy. And two more questions I have. One
Yeah.
is,
Yes, I'm single. I'm single.
will you marry me?
It's recorded. It's recorded.
Let me find
Yes,
the
I.
ring. Let me find the ring.
Oh
Oh,
my.
sorry, my
Oh,
Zoom.
I love your shorts.
Da-da-da.
Da,
Well,
da,
I don't have a ring, but I do have a heart.
oh.
Next time I see you, I'm gonna give you this heart.
Heart of my heart, that's you, kid. That's beautiful. And yes, yes. When?
When? Um,
We could fly to Vegas. We could drive to Vegas. Let's walk to Vegas. Who gives a hoot? Oh, I'm so excited. Too bad I'm a little old for children, but
well, my mother will be happy that I'm married at least.
exactly. So I can't wait to come and see your classes in person. I went to Meet the Biz once in the Valley
Yes.
and had a blast.
Oh, it was great. It was, people still talk about that class.
Well, very good.
Mm,
And when I come to
yeah.
your class, maybe, even if you're actors, singers, dancers, performers, just learn even 5 sentences for me. I would love to hear them act. It's like I'm sure. Do they do monologues in your
Oh,
classes?
yes. Yes, in fact, they're working on a monologue now, and I said it could be anywhere from one sentence
Good.
to a paragraph to a
Yes.
page.
There you go.
One,
You
under about a minute monologue.
Yes, yes. Oh, you are so lucky to work with young artists. I envy you. I envy you. I really do. And I just can't wait to get married.
Well, we'll just put that on the ring, and we'll have to find somebody to hold my train.
Oh. Oh. Ah.
I do have one question. One question. Do you prefer acting on stage? Because I've seen you on stage and you blow the roof off. You're like, even if the play is like, you walk into the room and the energy
Oh.
fills the room. Plays, movies, TV. What is your
My
love?
greatest love is the theater. Oh my God. And I was lucky enough to do the play Harvey with French Stewart last summer at the Laguna Playhouse.
Yes.
The play that brought my father to Hollywood, in fact.
Exactly.
And then I came back and did another play at Gary Marshall's theater. It fills me. You feel the audience. And I know your young actors, performers know what I'm talking about. When you move people, you feel it. It's so alive. And if you forget a line, which has happened to me once or twice, the excitement of someone throwing you a cue. And of course, that's what I was talking about, right?
Right.
But I love the theater. I love working in TV and movies because they pay you. Not that the equity plays, they also paid me. But yeah, contribute to my health insurance. And I like TV and movies too because you meet many, many wonderful people. Um, you get to work with fine actors with
Yeah.
good material. And I like it all, but oh God, I love the theater. I love live performing. And I started at the Comedy Store. Do you know that? When the original Comedy Store first opened on the Sunset Strip right here,
Right.
I was in the original improv group, the Comedy Store Players.
Now, was that before your TV or during? That was at the
It was,
beginning.
it was before. It was 1972 when the Comedy Store opened, and Sammy Shore and his wife Mitzi owned it. And their son Paulie, he was a little kid then. Paulie Shore, I'm sure you know Paulie Shore. Um, David Letterman worked out there. Jay Leno was a kid there. Every great comic, David Brenner, God rest his soul, just Daphne Davis, and Mitzi, the co-owner, she'd say, Carole, do stand up, do stand up. I never did stand up. Maybe I did it once.
Yeah.
And I couldn't remember my jokes. That's today. I still can't remember the story or the punchline. So,
Yeah.
stand up wasn't for me, but I love doing improv.
Mm.
Ooh, baby. I worked with Harvey Lembeck's comedy workshop. One of my first teachers was Stella Adler. Charles Nelson Riley was
Oh,
my teacher. And never stop studying because we don't work every day and you want to stay fresh.
stay fresh.
So keep studying, keep staying in classes. That's what I tell all young actors I meet.
Thank you, Carole Ita White.
You are so welcome. Who knew I'd end up engaged? We are engaged, right?